land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Won't you stand now? Stand by me. Stand by me.
Good morning, Jubilee. It's so good to see all of you here this morning, those of you who are present in this building and those of you who are virtually present as well. My name is Julia, and this is my therapy dog, Hazel, next to me. Some of you may be able to see her over here. Can you sit down, Hazel? Thank you. Let's give a big shout out to our wonderful World Beat Band for all the music that they bring us each and every week. We so appreciate it. So it's wonderful to have you all with us here, and please know that you may join us for the celebration, in the sixth grade classroom afterwards for coffee and snacks. We would love to meet with you there if you'd like. This is the Via Creativa. if I say that right, creativity. Creativity is viewed as an ongoing spiritual practice, and the conscious use of creativity as a spiritual tool, a vehicle for our transformation and deeper awareness. Spirituality is definitely a creative tool, and there are so many ways that we can express our creativity through art, through music, through dance, through connection, through the ability to communicate well. Creativity comes in so many forms. A lot of people say, I'm not an artist, but I think we all have a special art and a special way of giving. Deep engagement with life's fundamental questions is also motivated by our profound spiritual inquiries. And this allows questions to shape their artistic work. Openness to and aptitude for our own consciousness and sharing that with others. But today's theme is about compassion. Compassion as a practice. And I am really looking forward to hearing Elizabeth Barbour, who is in the back, share her reflection on this theme of compassion. Elizabeth Barbour is an intuitive life coach and joyful realist who helps clients turn life's chaos into clarity. For 25 years, she's been blending wisdom and it says woo, I don't know if that's woo-woo, to help people heal, grow, and celebrate the heck, it says, out of life's big moments and messy ones too. She's the author of an award-winning Sacred Celebrations, Designing Rituals to Navigate Life's Milestone Transitions. I'm so happy to welcome you here to us, to Jubilee, Elizabeth. On that note, I'd like to share a little bit about compassion. We're living in some very precarious times, as we all know. However, as always, we have a choice. We can succumb to the fear, or we can choose to act from a place of compassion, even while we witness what appears to be the greatest darkness playing out in ways that we cannot comprehend. After all, compassion's not about agreement. It can be said that it's about understanding. But actually, you don't need to share someone's belief to recognize their humanity. You don't need to share, and even in the absence of understanding another, we may still exercise compassion. And that is of not understanding. We don't always understand other people, and how can we unless we walk in their shoes? And so even having compassion for people whose motives and ways we have no way of comprehending or understanding, or their actions, compassion needs to go to those people too, because who knows, it could be coming from their ancestry. It could be coming from their experience in life that has shaped them to be who they are. And so that compassion is something far more than just having pity or feelings for someone else, but extending it to those who maybe we don't understand. When I think of compassion as practice, I found the words of an author called, if I say this right, PapaJoe. Thank you. It would seem that compassion begins with the self, as many things. And here she speaks of self-compassion. And that is really kind of where it all begins. Some of us can accept others right where they are a lot more easily than we can accept ourselves. We feel that compassion is reserved for someone else, and it never occurs to us to feel it for ourselves. My experience is that by practicing without shoulds, we gradually discover our wakefulness and our confidence. Gradually, without any agenda except to be honest and kind, we assume responsibility for being here in this unpredictable world, in this unique moment, and in this precious human body. And that's what she has to share about it. And I just wanted to further introduce my compassionate dog. As we all know, animals bring a certain kind of unconditional love to all of us. Hazel is actually a therapy dog. A lot of people don't know what that means. But a therapy dog is not a service dog. Service dogs can go on airplanes, and they can go in restaurants and go in places that Hazel's not allowed to go in. She is certified as a therapy dog in that she can, with permission, she can come in certain places, and Jubilee is one of them. So I just wanted you all to know that Hazel is here for you. It says "Pet Me" on her vest, and what she gets out of it is a great massage. So please feel free to extend your hand. Hazel would love that. Thank you all, and I hope that we will all learn more about compassion today, because we certainly are living in a time when that is a very needed element in our life.
Thank you, Julia. And thank you, Hazel. We all look forward to scratching you behind your ears. Okay, everybody, let's stand up and sing in the divine. Oh, I'm sorry. Calling of the directions.
Yes, still stand up so that we can call in the directions. And now that I have my reading glasses on, I can't see you, but I can read the directions. This morning, your bulletin says that Patricia will be reading, or will be calling the directions, and she felt it was a little strange to try and do it with the microphone through a mask. She has written these beautiful directions, though, however, so I wanted to give her credit. And let's turn to the east. Guardians of the East, season of spring, element of air, place of new beginnings, illumination, and the breath of first light. With the promise and inspiration of each new day, bring clarity to our minds and tenderness to our hearts. Teach us to listen deeply before we speak, so our words and choices may arise from care. Blessed be. Please turn to the south. Guardians of the South, season of summer, element of fire, place of desire and the radiant midday sun. Strengthen us to actively practice kindness and understanding, choosing compassion again and again for ourselves and all of creation. Blessed be. Turn to the west. Guardians of the West, season of autumn, element of water, place of twilight, ancient waters, and holy mystery. Cleanse our hearts with the flow of your waters. Teach us to trust the wisdom of letting go, so we may live from our deepest well of love, kindness, and compassion. Blessed be. Please turn to the north. Guardians of the North, season of winter, element of earth, place of the crone, midnight silence and moonlight, with the grounded steadiness of the earth and the deep wisdom of the ancestors. Teach us the strength of stillness. Show us how to live from a spacious and undefended heart, extending kindness, understanding, and care. Blessed be. And turn to the altar. We call on Akasha, the ethereal fluidity of the universe, the sacred field that fills both the physical space and the vastness between all things. Source of holy change, teach us to treat ourselves ever so gently, knowing that compassion begins here. Help us to become clear and willing channels for the highest good. Bless each of us and this space. Blessed be.
Thank you, Kathy. Now remain standing, and now we're going to sing in the divine. I want to hear everybody. Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming up behind. Make my way through this darkness. I can't feel nothing but this chain that binds me. Come on up for the rising. Come on up, lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up for the rising tonight. Lie, 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 lie,
Good morning, everyone. It's time for Jubilee in Action. This is where we learn about how you can get more involved in the community and pray with your feet. There will be a Mardi Gras parade planning meeting in the foyer after today's celebration. Everyone who wants to join the Jubilee crew is invited to attend. Susie Davis is the organizer. Our Everyone Eats program to prevent food insecurity ends today. So this will be the final Sunday to donate or receive grocery gift cards during coffee hour. See Sage Seeley with any questions. Our guest speaker, Elizabeth Barbour, will have her book, Sacred Celebrations, for sale during the coffee hour. She will donate a portion of sales to Jubilee. The Jubilee Social Justice Team wants y'all to know about 2 upcoming events that are pretty important, given what's going on in the world. The Interfaith Alliance is offering a virtual training on nonviolent civil resistance on Monday, January 12th at 7 p.m. And the Mennonite Action Group will present a hands-on training in Asheville on Saturday, January 24th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., offering tools to help us respond to the current political crisis. Links for both events are on the Social Justice webpage. Let Lisa Wilcox know if you want to travel with her to see the Buddhist Monks Peace March when it goes through Rock Hill, South Carolina, and Charlotte, North Carolina, and I think that's happening in the next couple of days. Julia Gaunt is offering a Stitch to Fix workshop to teach simple mending techniques on January 17th. Donations go to the Evelyn Heating Fund. Portia Orndorff will be leading Geeking Out, a creation spirituality study group starting after the Sunday celebration on January 18th. And we would love for you to take an active part in our community-led Sunday celebrations. You can offer the welcome, call the sacred directions, guide the meditation, or share a gift of song, poetry, story, dance, or such. Connect with Jean Marie Murphy, who's in the back, to get on the schedule. Links for getting more information on these announcements are all on the back of today's bulletin and on the website, and that is it for Jubilee in Action today.
All right. This is the part of our celebration where we feed the hungry. Everything that goes into this basket on the altar goes out to our neighbors, to folks in need in our community, to other organizations. Please sing along. Think of the fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by, still the children cry, but a little
Hello, Jubilee. It's great to see all of you. I'm Mary Lou, and as part of the Jubilee Outreach Committee, we have chosen a very, well, I think all of you understand that we need housing in Asheville, and so we chose to, and we're all aware that the housing has not improved since Helene came and visited us. And so we do have a check today for Habitat for Humanity due to your graciousness for $1,000. Okay. And we are very lucky to have with us the CEO of the Asheville Habitat for Humanity, Andy Barnett. So I'm going to hand the check over to him, and he'll have a few words for you.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's so good to be here and to spend a little bit of time with all of you. The Jubilee community has been one of Asheville Area Habitat for Humanity's longest and most faithful congregational partners, going back decades, really. Your work has, your work has helped us specifically in the work that we do to bring interfaith partners together around the idea of the need for affordable housing, and to put that work into tangible action by, not just talking about what we ought to be doing, but actually being about what we ought to be doing in building and repairing homes. So you have helped us do that for many, many years. I was really, sometimes the Spirit knows just exactly what needs to happen. Your theme this morning, or what Julia introduced about the connection between creativity and compassion, really hit as I was reflecting, because 14 months ago, our restore, our office building down along the river, literally this beautiful plan that was sitting on my desk of all the things that we were going to do floated away. And we had this moment where we had to figure out how creativity and compassion fit together. And it pushed us into doing something that we had never really thought of doing before. We stepped in as the convener of a group called Archer, the Asheville Regional Coalition of Home Repair. And so 6 different agencies who have been working in the home repair business in our community, helping to keep people in the homes and communities that they love. We had all been doing that work together, but kind of in our own ways for years. And we said, you know what if we all came together in this moment and focused our energy around the disaster repair needs in our community. So collectively, between those 6 agencies, we've been able, since Helene, to serve about 164 families, probably a few more than that, because they're coming in hot these days. We're completing about 20 repairs a month between those 6 agency partners. And that's what your support last year went towards. When Jubilee supported Habitat last year, it was around this work that we're doing collectively with disaster survivors. And this year, when Mary Lou reached out, she said, just put it wherever you need it the most. Well, guess what? We need it in that same place, because even though we've been able to serve so many disaster survivors and get them back in their homes, there's about 457 folks still waiting on our pipeline of people who need assistance. And so we're going to take this money, we're going to continue to further that work. We would love to have you get involved, as we still work with volunteers and do all the things that you know and love about Habitat, but we would love to have you get involved in that way, or to share this in any way you possibly can. So thank you again for having us. We are so grateful for this, and I'm going to pass this back to whoever gets to talk next.
Thank you, Andy. Habitat is a very important organization in our community, and we're happy to help with anything you need us for. Okay, now is the time that we meditate and pray. David, are you here? Okay. who is doing the meditation? PapaJoe?
I thought somebody else was going to do that.
At this time, if you have prayers that you need support with, you can go back to our prayer wall out in the foyer, take communion, be still with another individual that can help support you in your needs at this time. PapaJoe, can you lead us in a meditation?
I wasn't really planning on doing this, but I'm very happy to. David is dealing with another bout of COVID. I do want to remind everyone the world hasn't changed. And if the waves of anguish have overcome you, if a disease has visited you, it's just part of the flow. It comes and it goes, and it travels the world, so if it's not bothering you now, it's bothering somebody else. And compassion is something we should always have in our hearts. And the divine flow is always present. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you, PapaJoe. Now is the time that we share peace with one another. Let's sing, stand, shower the people is what we're going to do. When we get to the musical interlude, I want you to hug, fist bump, whatever. Greet each other with love and peace. You can play the game and you can act out the part, though you know it wasn't written for you. Tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool? One thing can be to another, it doesn't take any sacrifice. Father and mother and sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Share a holy say to you. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. And now we have a gift of story from PapaJoe. He's on once again. We're so glad you're here, PapaJoe.
I am so honored to be back again, and it's such a blessing. We were dealing with the divine flow last week, and it just seems like it always pours together again. Having this opportunity to share during the gift of Habitat of Humanity. The story I'd like to share today is a piece from the Buddhist tradition. It's a story that was put together after Buddha had left this world. It's called Ananda in the Bag of Gold. Ananda was a Buddhist attendant for many years. He was very well known for his ability to remember everything he'd heard. He was considered one of the people who most understood the Dhamma and the Vardas and was instrumental in having them recorded. He's also known as a champion of the women's claim to being able to be part of the religious faiths. And so it's unsurprising this story is told about him. This is a more modern version of it. There was a king, and his women came to him from his harem, and they said, "We would like to learn the Dhamma." He says, "Fine, what does that mean?" They said, "Well, we would like to have Ananda come and teach us." He says, "You want a man in my harem?" They said, it's Ananda. He's aesthetic. He doesn't care about your wives." "Well, I have other more valuable things in my harem." He said, "He's aesthetic. He doesn't care about your wealth." "Well, then fine. If you want Ananda, you can have him." And so Ananda came, and he taught the women, and they were so pleased with his teachings that at the end, they gave him a bag of gold. Now, immediately the king said, "Oh, I see. Ananda, that's a big bag of gold." Ananda says, "Yes, Your Majesty, it is, and that's very good because I need a big bag of gold. I need to buy some clothes." The king said, "Ananda, that's a big bag of gold. You could buy a lot of clothes with that." Ananda says, "Well, I need a lot of clothes, for I plan to give clothing to the people of your village." The king said, "My village? Ananda, the people in my village have clothes." Ananda says, "Yes, Your Majesty, but have you looked lately? They're thin, they're worn, they hardly stay on their backs. I think they need new clothes." "But Ananda, what about the old clothes? Are you just going to throw all those away?" Ananda says, "Oh, no, Your Majesty. We're going to take those old clothes and we'll take the best parts of the cloth and we're going to stitch them together and make quilts so your people will sleep warmer at night." "Ananda, the people in my village, they have blankets." "Your Majesty, their blankets are thin and worn. So are you just going to throw those away?" "No, Your Majesty. We'll take those and we'll use them for stuffing and give them new pillows." "New pillows? What's wrong with their old pillows, Ananda?" "Oh, Your Majesty, the old pillows are flat and hard. They can hardly sleep on them." "So you'll just throw those away, right?" Ananda said, "No, Your Majesty. We'll take the old pillows and we'll braid them together to make rugs so their floors will be warmer." "Ananda, I know the people in my village have rugs on their floors." "Your Majesty, those rugs are worn, thin, and they're holy. Why, there's nothing better to do with them than fold them up and make mats for their doors so they can clean their feet as they enter the houses." "And the old mats, Ananda, what are you going to do with the old mats?" "Your Majesty, the old mats are very worn, but we can take them and attach them to sticks and make mops so they can clean their houses." "Ananda, they have mops. What are you doing with those?" "Oh, Your Majesty, those mops are so worn, there's nothing left of them but rags." "So, you'll throw those away?" "Oh, no, Your Majesty. We'll take those rags and mix them with clay and use them to stuff the holes in their walls and help your people stay warm." And that's the story of Ananda and his bag of gold. Thank you very much.
Elizabeth? Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Is okay? All right, great. I'm going to start off with our reading for today. It's from one of my favorite poets. His name is John Rodell. Are any of you familiar with him? Bruce, of course you are. John Rodell wrote a book called Remedy. And what I'm going to read for you this morning, with my glasses, is called When the World Goes Mad. When the world goes mad, be wildly kind to everyone. Everyone, everyone, everyone. You can't control much, but you can control how you treat others. In these breaking news, heartbreaking times, when nothing feels certain, let your raw kindness be a certainty. Allow your compassion to become a North Star, stamped up in the sky for others to follow back home. This is ancient wisdom and holy word. Thanks be to all that is wise and holy. It's good to be here with you all. For those of you who don't know me, I was a jubilant here 25 years ago. I first entered the doors of Jubilee in, I think it was May of 2001, when I moved to Asheville the first time. I moved back 3 years ago, never dreaming that I would be back in this magical mountain town, but here I am. I had my reflection all prepared for you last week, and then Wednesday happened in Minneapolis. And I completely remote my speech, mostly through the night. I don't know about you, but I haven't slept real well lately. I'm still not as prepared to say probably as what I want to say, because it's hard to find the words these days, you know? Yeah, you know. And I'm the parent of an almost 15-year-old girl. She turns 15 in 10 days. And how do you talk to your kids about stuff like this when the world has gone mad? This morning, our theme is compassion, not just an idea, but what do we do when the world feels unbearable? The day that the ICE agent murdered Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, I had just gone out to dinner with a friend that evening. We went to a drumming class at Skinny Beats, and we had a delicious dinner at Limone's, complete with chocolate torte, which was an early celebration of my birthday, which happened to be yesterday. It's been a tough week to have a birthday, let me tell you. I came home that night and I hung out with my teenage daughter on the couch, and I flipped through social media, because of course that's where I get all my news these days, from independent journalists. And I couldn't look away from the videos of what happened in Minneapolis. Renee Nicole Good was a mom of 3, a wife, a poet, and she has just dropped her 6-year-old off at school when she saw an ICE enforcement operation in her neighborhood, and she stopped to bear witness. Her last words to an ICE agent were, "It's okay, dude. I'm not mad at you." And then she was fatally shot 3 times while driving away from the scene. Usually I don't watch videos of traumatic events because I'm an empath and I usually can't sleep. But this one I've watched dozens of times. I suspect maybe like some of you, because we've been trying to look at all the angles, trying to understand what happened and trying to understand just what went so terribly wrong. But what I also saw on social media later that night was the incredible outpouring of love in her neighborhood, the impromptu shrine in her honor, and citizens of Minneapolis singing, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." When violence steals life, community answers in ritual. That's what I call a sacred celebration, which happens to be the title of my recent book, which is all about designing rituals to navigate life's transitions. My definition of rituals is that they are a sacred container for transformation and healing. Sometimes we plan these gatherings long in advance, maybe a wedding, maybe a retirement celebration. And sometimes they are impromptu, like Renee's vigil. Rituals are how compassion takes shape and takes form when we just don't know what to do. When we are shocked and grieving, that's what we do. It's human nature to gather in community, to witness one another, to hug each other as if to say, "I'm here." We cry with one another because we need to express our pain, and we wail with one another to give grief a pathway. And we sing with one another so that we may have hope. Isn't that what compassion is? It's showing concern for others in all the different ways. It's shining our light all the time, but especially in the darkness. And right now it's pitch black out there. When the world goes mad, be wildly kind to everyone. Everyone, everyone, everyone. You can't control much, but you can control how you treat others. In these breaking news, heartbreaking times when nothing feels certain, let your raw kindness be a certainty. Allow your compassion to become a North Star, stamped up in the sky for others to follow back home. We know a little bit about darkness uncertainty here in Asheville, don't we? A little more than a year ago, Hurricane Helene devastated our region. Deadliest hurricane since Katrina in 2005. Those were dark and scary days, weren't they? People died. People lost their homes. The lines for food and gas were long. We lived without power and internet for weeks. Kids were out of school for over a month, which was rather challenging for those of us parents. We lived without drinkable water for almost 2 months. How did we demonstrate our compassion? We looked out for one another. We checked on our neighbors. We did supply runs. The younger folks helped the elderly. Aunties and uncles and grandparents stepped up to help the parents with little kids who were pulling their hair out. We pooled our resources. For weeks and months after Helene, we would greet friends that we hadn't seen in a while, and the first thing we would say is, "How are you? And how are your people? And how's your land? How's your property?" And then after we got those out of the way, then we would go about our business. That's compassion. That's bearing witness. That's being empathetic. We know how to do hard here in Asheville. So we've experienced collective trauma in our country. And as we all know, it's not just been this week. It's been for years. Then we've had collective trauma in our city that we've been recovering from. And then we layer on the personal traumas, right? Like that's part of being human. Maybe you've been dealing with a serious health challenge or navigating a divorce. You've had the death of a loved one, lost a job, had relationship challenges. No matter what it is, we all are carrying around our own personal grief. Compassion, compassion, compassion. We must continue to practice it every single day. As a life and business coach for the past 25 years, I can't believe that. I started my business in 2000, moved to Asheville originally in 2001, as I said. I was here until 2007, and I moved away. I was in Tallahassee, Houston, and Raleigh before I came back. I have spent decades trying to help people find their solid ground in times of grief and transition. And that work has now deepened, for me personally, into helping people navigate complex relational spaces with compassion and grace. As someone who is an adult adoptee, and I'm also an adoptive mom, living in reunion with both my birth family and my daughter's birth family, I see every day how much compassion is needed when the relationships are complex, the histories are layered, and the emotions run deep. So I have developed something that I called the GRACE method for navigating adoption reunion. And for our purposes today, talking about compassion as practice, I have modified it. And I want to share a little bit of it with you. If we could all give one another more grace, as you know, the world would be a better place. So the GRACE method, I'm just going to briefly run through the 5 letters. You don't have to remember them all. Even one moment of grace can shift your day or somebody else's. The G stands for Genesis. Compassion begins somewhere. Genesis is the moment that we choose to respond rather than react. It's the pause before the words, the breath before the action. We choose kindness. We choose kindness as the point of beginning. The R stands for reconnection. Compassion restores relationship, reconnecting with ourselves and reconnecting with the shared humanity of the other. Compassion reminds us that we aren't separate. We're all connected. The A stands for authenticity. Compassion is honest. It's not performative. Naming what is real without judgment and letting truth be part of the kindness. Being authentic builds trust. The C stands for communication, where compassion is expressed, not assumed. Your tone matters, listening matters, and your words carry weight. How we speak becomes an act of care. And last but not least, the E stands for evolution. Compassion allows us to grow. We are not meant to stay the same, and compassion leaves room for learning, for repair, and for becoming. Evolution keeps compassion alive. So what I'd like for us to do is practice a little bit of compassion together. So I'm going to invite us, and I don't want you to move yet. Let me explain what we're going to do. I'd like to invite you to pair up with somebody, preferably not someone that you came with. You can stay seated, or you can move and find someone else. I want you to do a very simple exercise. First, I want you to stand and just breathe together. I want you to have brief eye contact. I want you to look into each other's eyes. If you don't know each other, tell each other your name. And then person A, I'd like to invite you to say, one thing I could use some more compassion around right now is, and then fill in the blank. And only share what feels comfortable to share. Like, we don't have to go super, it could be like, I yelled at my kid this morning, or I cut someone off in traffic. It doesn't have to be the big, deep, dark things. Person B then responds and says, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I hear you. And just give it a pause, take a deep breath together, and then switch roles. Okay? I'm going to give you about 2 to 3 minutes to do this. Okay, so go find somebody, practice a little grace. Take 1 more minute. All right, if you can wrap up your conversations and come back to the group, please. Finish your sharing and come back to your seat, please. This is always the hardest part, getting everyone to stop. I need a little bell. Thank you. Thank you, musicians. Everybody back to your seat, please. Thank you all. So I cannot tell you how heartwarming it was to witness that. The eye contact, the hand holding, the tears, the laughter. You had all of it, right? That's what real compassion is. And of course, y'all are Jubilee, so you guys, I mean, you have this in spades. Y'all know how to do this. But I just want to remind you, go out there in the world and do this every single day. We need this heart connection now more than ever. So my closing words for you all. Grace does not ask us to be perfect. It asks us simply to stay in relationship with ourselves, with one another, and with what is still unfolding in the world around us, in our personal lives, in our city, in our country, and in the world. One final closing thought about Renee Nicole Good. One of my Facebook friends shared a beautiful reflection on her name that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if any of you saw this. Her name meanings. Renee means renewed or born again. Nicole means power and victory to the people. And good, of course, means God, excellent, beneficial, of the Most High. So she embodied renewed power and victory to the people for God. May her death not be in vain, and may her memory remind us to keep practicing compassion as a ritual, as an intention, and as your North Star. What might that look like for you this week? Light a candle, check on your neighbor, build an altar, attend a vigil, attend a protest, say your prayers. And most of all, remember, as John Rodell said, when the world goes mad, be wildly kind to everyone, everyone, everyone.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And now we're going to pass the bowls around. The money you put in the bowl now goes back to Jubilee. It helps us keep this community together and keeps us doing what we need to do out in the world.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Ooh, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
We have Kathy and Sandy in our giving and receiving ritual. We offer these gifts to the past for our ancestors. We offer the gifts for the present, and we offer these gifts for our future. May we use them wisely, mindfully, and with love. Thank you. Today we're doing things a little differently. We are not going to send ourselves out the way we normally do. We have folks from our discernment team that are going to share a little bit about how they've been spending the last year, looking at Jubilee, praying about our future. And we have Michael and Rose here to talk about it.
We have had so many reminders today of the reminder that this week has been that we are not living in ordinary times. Am I the only one here who had a meltdown this week? Just me. Yeah, that's what I thought. Wednesday, videos from Minneapolis, knowing that that tragic and violent death was only one of thousands of heartbreak experiences that have gone on around our country in recent years. And that was all on top of Venezuela and all sorts of foreign policy craziness, on top of growing hunger, child mortality, maternal mortality, the sacrifice of truth for power and political influence. All of that left me just in an absolute meltdown. Like many of you, I was in tears, I was screaming, I had a mixture of rage and disbelief and impenetrable sadness. And it left me then with the question, how in the name of all that is sacred, can I both hang on resolutely to the insistence that this craziness is not who we are, but hold that in a spirit of love and compassion? And that's where Jubilee comes in. I know that we cannot swim up the Niagara Fall of the transformation that we're called to make by ourselves. And I don't know about you, but I know that for me, the reality is that the spirit of domination and greed and fear and individualism is in me. It's in my bones, it's in my blood. And that work of transformation requires community. So how can we do that? Jubilee is a part of the answer. And that's the context of this sharing that Rose and I want to do about our year of collaborative discernment. Because community is, as Father Richard Rohr says, the best antidote to the really bad is the practice of something better. And we can individually have a new aspiration of something better, a new intention, a new determination, but it doesn't become a practice until we come together in community and find our way to support and encourage and guide each other as we navigate this process of the transformation so that we can become the practice of something better. So a little over a year ago, because of some conversations going on here in Jubilee, a group of us came together with the support of the board to become a discernment group. And discernment, you know, is just another word for deep listening. Setting aside our normal patterns of thinking and our normal assumptions, some deep listening, not to solve problems or not to fix anything, but to listen, to answer the question, what does Jubilee's vision call us to in today's realities? And this whole discernment process was rooted in a growing conviction that Jubilee doesn't belong to us. Jubilee exists in service of a movement, of a cause, of the Great Turning, as has often been called. We're called to serve a purpose that's greater than ourselves, called to serve a purpose that's greater than our private spiritual growth, our weekly inspiration and guidance that we get together, the delightful music that we enjoy. It's called for something bigger and more important than that. So our theme during this Via Creativa is about embracing a mystical creative process. So our discernment group was made up of 7 people who began this process: Aurea Hansen, Lynn and Portia Orndorff, Maureen Linneman, Elizabeth Likas, and Rose Bator and I. And so as we gathered and as we met monthly through last year, we realized that the discernment that was going on was a collaborative process. It included our board and our celebration task force and our staff and our teams, because we're a small community, so members of the discernment committee were connected with other groups. We were talking and sharing with one another, and there was a collaborative influence that helped shape us. And out of that, a couple of significant truths emerged for us. And you've been a part of them, you've seen them. One of those truths was the reality that we chose community leadership. I remember conversations about this time last year when a lot of us were thinking, okay, we'll pull together right now and be a community-led Jubilee community. We will engage resources of our Jubilee community to plan our celebrations and coordinate our life until we get a new minister to lead us. Well, we got part of the way through the year and we began to realize, oh my gosh, we're thriving. Look at the talent, look at the wisdom, look at the gifts that are so present in our community. They were beginning to come and offer yourselves to give life to help shape and guide our whole community life as well as our weekly celebrations. And we began to realize that we are the answer. We are the wisdom that we need. And particularly in a time when hierarchy and patriarchy have such toxic influence, what better way is there to tap into the wisdom and the courage of the divine feminine than that we are a community-led Jubilee community? A second thing that became clearer to us as we moved through the year, as we moved through a year when blatant cruelty, disregard for common good, deference to the richest among us was rampant. During that year, we recognized more clearly that Jubilee is called to be perhaps a microcosm, a sample of that more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible, that more beautiful world that is emerging. The old order is having its last gasp right now, and a new order is emerging, and Jubilee is called in service of that new order that's emerging. So we recognize the wisdom in the midst of all the chaos of a quote that I think Rose shared with me last year from Ilya Prigogine, who was a Nobel Prize winner in chemistry. She wrote, "When a complex system is far from equilibrium, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to shift the entire system into a higher order. Jubilee is a small island of coherence in a sea of chaos. So Rose is going to share with us another window on where we are in our Jubilee life.
It's a privilege to be here talking today with you in this incredible celebration. And I was sitting behind Lynn, whose t-shirt reminded me what we're doing here, which is, the Jubilee logo, celebrating creation, compassion, community, those 4 C's, I think is what you just said. The island of sanity in the midst of this chaos. And what a privilege for us to be Jubilee and to be the inheritors of the founding vision that was birthed into this world in all the beauty and all the ways that it happened. And what a privilege for us to be holding that sacred trust. I think about Jubilee right now as holding a sacred trust for the stewardship of this vision into the future. That's what I think about where we are. So one of the things we talk about is, where are we? I mean, this has been the conversation all year, right? Where are we? Where are we after Helene? Where are we after all the changes? We've lost our buildings and all of that kind of stuff. Where are we? Are we dying? Are we splitting? Are we falling apart? Are we just hanging on till the end? So one of the things that I have found helpful is to ask the question from a natural systems approach. In other words, if we're creation spirituality, how do we learn about who we are from creation? So one of the things we know is that every system that survives, that sustains itself, is a natural system. Patriarchal systems don't work, human-made systems don't work, we see that clearly. So if we go back to Jubilee is a natural system. It is one of those natural life cycles like every other living thing. Anything that is a living thing, whether it's your body or an organization or your relationships or your business or your community, these are natural systems, and there are patterns of sustainability that make something go on. And so I'm going to talk about that. So the question is, where are we now? So in the beginning of that chart, you see that when something begins, at the bottom left corner, when something is beginning anew in the world, what happens in nature is that there are something that the scientists call molecules of change. And I think we know what that is, right? We've been living in molecules of change. So if you go to the beginning of Jubilee, there were molecules of change that were things like, well, why does a church have to look like this? Why does a church have to be only people who believe the same thing? Why does a church have to exclude things? Why does a church have to be a church? And in those questions that Howard and many, many others began to reflect on, and they began to dream a new dream, which is, how about if there's a thing, there's a living thing that wants to celebrate creation and community and compassion? How about if it's not about dogmas? How about if it's about spiritual journeys? How about if it's not about excluding people? How about if it's about making a table where everybody's welcome? All those how-abouts, what if that happens, began to take shape. And when those ideas of molecules of change coalesce, there is something that births itself new into the world. And this happens all over the place. Sometimes it's a forest, a tree, a bush, some life cycle in the ocean. But in the case of Jubilee, so we had a founding of something, and something new came into the world. And that's our lineage, that's our ancestry that we just talked about. And in this stage of natural systems development, when something new comes into the world, there are patterns that happen. So there is a whole time of chaos, which I wasn't there at the beginning, but you can imagine, like, okay, so what if we want to do this in Jubilee? We want to create this community, and it's not about who fits and who doesn't fit, but about coming together, and there's joy in it. And there's not guilt and shame. There's joy and life. So things start evolving. And anytime there's new stuff evolving, there's chaos, right? Because there's no linear stuff. Life is not linear. Nothing happens that way. So there's all kinds of things happening at one time. That chaos of a new thing being born is so full of life. And also scare, because as soon as something new is going to be born, something new is going to go, something old is going to go away, right? So there's this chaos time. Then there's a whole phase when something is new that there's growth. And so new people come, new ideas. There's a building. There's a gathering place. There's a name. There's a logo. And in that expansive growth time, things start really flowering, and the vision becomes clearer. And then there's some stabilization time. So then, like, Jubilee becomes a thriving thing, and all these people are coming, and we're known in the community. We start participating, and we have a sense of us. We have a sense that we're a thing, we're a community. And things get stabilized. And then there are what we always say, like roles or ways that we stabilize a system. Like, you make up roles, you make up practices and systems, like we'll meet every Sunday, we'll get a building, we'll do this. So, and we'll need some people to do that. So things get stabilized. Now think about this in terms of your life and in terms of your relationships, in terms of your career. This is the same life pattern that happens. It's the same natural system that happens. So then things get stabilized, and then the big thing next to that, and you can imagine things in your life that were going well, and then there is some catalyst event. So think about your own life for a minute, like something happens. It could be the thing that we talked about today. Something happens in our lives individually, collectively, as communities that shakes up. So in our case, we could talk about how we're leaving. We could talk about where we've been the last 5 or 6 years. A catalyst event, though it seems that it makes everything fall apart, really gives you the momentum for new life. If you do not have catalyst events, you just kind of fizzle out. So, hey, we are lucky. We've had a lot of catalyst events, haven't we? So we are just primed for new life. So the whole recycling of life depends on what happens when the catalyst events happen. In your relationships, in your body, in your community. These are natural processes. All things that sustain life go through catalyst events that create change. You could say that's familiar to us, right? Then after the catalyst events, you go into another period of chaos. So think about the last several years. Chaos would be a good description for that, right? That chaos feels really different from the first chaos. It's not so much fun and exciting. It's like, right? But you go through that because you have to destabilize what was in order to have the new. Because nothing in nature survives if it is stagnant. That's just what we know. Our bodies can't survive stagnant. So, I mean, you're making new cells and organs every day. So, and when you go through destabilizing, where it leads to is that everything of the old begins to collapse. So I can see from your faces, this is familiar, right? In life, in work, in family, all of a sudden things crash. And then what? And I love the thing that the quote that you gave us today about when the world goes mad. What? Then what? Where does life call you when the world goes mad? In this case, we sure don't want to go back, right? So, well, there's that, right? That doesn't always stop us but from trying, because honestly, I don't know about you, but most people I know when there's a catalytic event and things collapse, we put everything into going back, because that felt stable. But here we are, Jubilee, and we're sitting in this room because we're not going back, because we don't want to go back. right? We want to renew. So after the collapsing of the old, then you have the chance to start what-ifing again. When you go through life that makes you release the old, and sometimes it's excruciatingly painful to release the old. We spend our lives trying to get things stable and hold on to them, and then life happens, and here we are. We sit here today talking about this. So here's, like, you know when you go into the mall and you look at those big things and it says, "You are here"? Okay, like here, this is where we are. We're like, if we say, "Where is Jubilee?" and we're a little dot on the mall, we are in this new phase here. And the new phase is, once we have accepted that everything has collapsed, and we stop fighting that, and we start opening to what might be emerging, we have a new segment of what ifs. Like, what if this? What if we're community-led? What if we don't need a building? What if we try something new? What if this is the part where the molecules of change are again beginning to coalesce? So if you ask yourself, and you've heard probably, we're dying, one part of that looks like dying, the other part looks like, oh, we're being born. We're starting a new cycle of life that we would never have if we didn't agree to the dying, if we didn't stick through the dying. So here's where we are. We're in this new phase here that's going up the hill. This is a time of experimenting, adapting, and the biggest thing is listening for the new energy, listening for what's emerging, because honestly, as Michael said, this is not so much about Jubilee. This is about the work of life. This is how life works. It disinvests in what's not working, and it reinvests in the potential of what's possible. So when we get up to these where we're going to refocus and deepen the vision, this part I want to say is there have been lots of studies done on how in business and stuff like that, how do organizations sustain themselves? How do they refound? And the thing that we've learned from some research is the way that organizations refound is when they return to their mission, return to their vision. They do two things. They go back and go deeper into what really matters. Okay, think about this in your relationships. When you're in a rocky place, when you're in trouble, or in your own self, you go back to what is essential, what really matters, what are you doing here? And the second part is you look at what's happening in the world and the relationship of those two. So what is happening with the true vision of Jubilee, which is about creation and about community and about compassion and about celebrating and about creativity? And how does that interact and get shaped and renewed and refreshed by our vision? That's where we are. So I just wanted to share this piece because it's good news. This is not bad news. We are not dying, we're not falling apart. We are in a transformation phase that gives us an open door to new life, to discover kind of the question posed to us today. The world has gone mad. And how do we want to participate? What's our vision? Which I love our vision. What is our vision offering the world through us today? So back to Michael.
So over the last year, as our discernment group and then the board worked through that question, what is our vision calling us to at this time? We considered a variety of possibilities, each of which has some merit. We considered the option of, as I mentioned earlier, hire a new lead minister to guide Jubilee through a phase of transformation and growth. We could stay the course, continue just like we're going right now. We would also, by that, have to continue to monitor cash flow, because I think most of you are aware we're continuing in terms of to have a negative cash flow in terms of weekly giving and expenses. So we considered the option of continuing our current practice and expanding an emphasis on small groups and support the multiplication of small groups with the energies of current staff and volunteers. We weighed the option of merging with another like-minded faith community or spiritual community. We weighed the option of buying another building that could be the center of our Jubilee life. As we sat with each of those, recognizing the strengths and the limitations, hello, Hazel, thank you, I needed some support. She's just rubbing against my leg, oh, so sweet. We recognized, our sense was that these are not our best options for this time. And what emerged for us was not a vision of a projected desired outcome, but instead what emerged was a suggestion for a way of walking, a way of moving forward that would allow us to continue to thrive in this community-led time and to incorporate into this thriving time some intentional practices that would help us to become more fully who we are. And so, two specific things came then. One was a proposal that we continue for the next couple of years our community-led approach to our celebrations in life. We are expanding, we are thriving, we're energized in this time. And at the same time, in order to equip ourselves to better embody and to share this new world that's emerging, we would enter a 2-year project that would involve contracting with a person to lead us in a couple of specific things that Rose is going to review with us.
To be a 3-part thing today with Hazel, me,
Yes.
and Michael. So this idea that Michael's talking about, like, what would we do as a process to go back to what I was saying earlier? When a group is trying to refound and renew, it goes back to do a deep dive in its vision, and it overlays with that, what is the essence going on in the world today? And how do those go together? So that's why this idea of it's not an outcome, it's like, can we engage in a walk together that will deepen us, that will surprise us, that will renew us, that will give us a deep, now, at this time, renewed vision of Jubilee. And so this 2-year process is what we're talking about that would have, well, let me go back a second. So back in April, because the Discernment Committee or group was looking at where are we? So we asked you all to fill out surveys, as we do here at Jubilee, right? Lots of surveys. We asked you all to say, what matters now to you for Jubilee? What should we be doing? What should we be thinking about? What about the future of Jubilee? And there were a whole list of things that came back. 2 of them are the ones we chose to work with, and there are others that the board can work with, but we chose to work with 2, not because they were the top 2, but because they had a lot of energy in them for the community and for us. The first one was people saying, we need pastoral care. We are a community of faith that doesn't have what we need for pastoral care. And we're telling you right off the bat, most people hate that term, pastoral care. I'm using it this morning only to give us a collective idea of what we're talking about. So basically, the whole notion would be, how do we go deeper in this idea of creating a caring community for ourselves that then can spill over into the world? So caring for ourselves when there are sufferings, when there are illnesses, when there are changes, when there are joyful things, when there are weddings, when there are funerals, all of that. How do we bring that to ourselves? So the first idea of pastoral care is that we would have someone who would do some of that, and also, second part, work with a group of people and train them so that they can do that. And so that's the first part of this plan, that this person that we want to bring in would provide pastoral care and training for sustainability of pastoral care. And that the whole thing in general would overflow into us becoming a more connected and caring community for one another in probably multiple ways we don't even think about yet. That's the first part of what we're asking to do for everybody dance. Okay. And the second part that came out real strongly in the surveys was, we need to go deeper into creation spirituality. What about creation spirituality? And so this second part would be multiple ways of doing that. And we're just calling it like a deep dive into creation spirituality, where for a couple years, we would commit ourselves to going down deeper in what is creation spirituality now in the world. Not when it was founded, but now in this insane time. What does it mean to live like the universe lives now? So these are just suggestions. They're ideas of what this might look like. One of them is that we would have something called Creation Spirituality Uncorked, which can change, but the notion of people gathering together in their homes, maybe they have wine, maybe they don't, maybe they have dinner, maybe they don't, but people gathering in homes around different topics, and these things would be curated and designed and facilitated for small groups to go deep. And that was another big thing that came out of the surveys. We want small groups. We want conversation. We want to talk about stuff that matters in small groups. That's one of the things. The other thing is classes and study groups, specifically on creation spirituality. And I love this part, that they would be here and that they would be open to the public. And maybe this would be a vehicle for us to partner with our partners in a deeper way. So we would invite people from different organizations and anyone who wants to learn about creation spirituality to come to these classes. So in a way you could say Jubilee might open its doors to share creation spirituality with the larger community, whoever wants to. And the last thing, that there would be retreats. Maybe they'd be half-day retreats, weekend retreats, day retreats, any kind of retreats that would create spaces for us in community to go down deeper. And the last thing would be that we would want to engage this 2-year process in a very deep listening way, so that we would be constantly, and I don't know how this is going to work yet, but trying to hear what's coming up. What are people hearing? What are people experiencing? What is Jubilee experiencing through this process, so that we can learn and gather together our collective wisdom. So it's a process about collective wisdom. And the last thing I just want to say about this is all voluntary, number one. Nobody has to do anything. This is a gift being offered to Jubilee from the world, from the board, from the vision of life that is holding us for our next piece. This is a gift, it's an offering. Nobody has to do anything. You don't have to show up anywhere. It's not mandatory. And the second thing is, this will not touch Sunday celebrations. Sunday celebrations are incredible, beautiful, evolving. They are a life force of their own. This is not to replace that. It's not to modify it. This is around the edges, a support. Anything else on that? That I'm missing?
That's good. Good. Thank you. And by the way, when we wrap up this session, we have handouts that we'll be giving you that are a 1 1/3 page overview of some of the ideas that we've shared. So over the last year, as our discernment group worked through these ideas, we began to have a sense, maybe up in July, August or so, that a direction was emerging that's exactly what you've heard. And we thought, oh, it just feels like we're being led in this direction. And so over the last 2 months, we have our discernment group met initially with the board to test, in a sense, do you also sense that we may be led in this direction for the service of Jubilee, for Jubilee's service in the world? And then we had another group that included some staff members, team leaders, and so on, again, for exactly that same purpose, to say, is it just our discernment group? But in each one of those settings, I think most of us, even those of us on the discernment group, were surprised at the palpable energy of enthusiasm and sense that, yes, this may be our calling. So we've met with the board. The discernment group now has handed off its work to the board. We are happy to be of service, to partner, to collaborate in any way, but the board now is carrying this project and this idea forward. And they intend at the regular board meeting on July 19th to give further attention to this and to work on some of the many, many details that don't have answers, many questions that don't have answers yet. What did I say? Jay, I was close. All right, January, thank you. Yes, that makes a lot of difference, so thanks. Okay, so Rose, you want to lead us in this last part before Lynn and Maureen, I think, are going to speak with us.
Yeah, just in closing, I guess what we want to say is what we came to in this discernment group is that life is offering us a gift. It's offering us a gift of renewed vision, renewed spirit, renewed creativity, and that it's not something we're doing, it's something we're being offered. And I guess our response can be opening our hearts and our hands and being willing to participate and willing to go on a ride into an unknown place it will take us somewhere different, I'm sure, individually, and how that happens collectively. So we just want to say this, this is what I believe about creation spirituality, that it is a partnership with the universe, and it calls us to open to the new and to participate in the new that's coming to life, especially in a world that's gone mad. So with that, we want to invite board to say a few words.
Steve, do you need a chair? Okay. Cool. All right. So we're all crowding together here, aren't we? Nobody wants to stand in front. Except me, because I'm the shortest. So over the last few months, as Discernment Group has brought this to the board, and in full disclosure, I was part of the Discernment Group, as Michael mentioned. So some of the ideas I have been with for a long time, but it was really exciting for us to see how our fellow board members responded when we first introduced these ideas to them. And they were on the edges of their seats, by and large. and about different aspects of it. And I think we're all very excited to continue going forward with this, to offer everybody some ways to deepen some things that have already started happening. We have Geeking Out with Creation Spirituality. We have an Artist Way group going. We have the Mardi Gras crew, for heaven's sake. We know how to have fun. But this will be a little bit more structured and organized, but it will also offer a lot of different ways for a lot of different people to choose to get involved with each other, with Jubilee, and with the wider community. And I think that's really kind of the exciting thing, and I'm really looking forward to what comes of it. And I know Maureen has a couple things to say.
Well, I have so much to say, I don't know what to say. But I have also been a part of the discernment group, and I have been blessed by being able to work in this way, collaboratively, listening to each other. I think that's a major thing that we have done, is deep listening. And it is exactly what this program is trying to carry forward, to have groups, to have a teacher or a guide who can help us know how to be compassionate with each other, to listen to each other. And, you know, all the things that Rose and Michael have so beautifully put together in this presentation. I personally am just privileged to have been a part of it, and want so much for Jubilee going forward to have a direction that is a spiritual direction. It is we were very intentional in our speaking. We listened to each other's differences and tried to understand each other. And that is a process of growth in community. And that's what we want to support. That's what I personally want to support. And as a board member, I am honored to be able to say that we want this to go forward and to be a visionary program for our community. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we didn't have to be distracted by them looking bored up there. So we thought, rather than Longtime Sun, which is also one of my favorites, we thought we would do Whoa Ya Ya. And I think Michele has the word. Oh, yeah, they're already up there. And I'll let Susie sing.
How about we all stand and hold hands, and if some folks want to come down around the altar, come on down. I don't know that we've got enough room to get everybody down here, but and you all are beautiful. I've just got to say, standing up here every week, looking out at all of your smiling faces, I am just, I feel the love and the connection that we share as we show up every week. I just wanted to say that. We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know we will. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It may be hard, we know, and the road may be muddy and rough. everybody.
Don't forget coffee hour and the Mardi Gras meeting.